and welcome to another video. Okay, we've come back to the Miele W562 Prestige Plus 6 washing machine. This is a video requested by firekid 1235. He requested a all cycles and options video of this Miele. This is also inspired by YouTube user Witchwasher 2007, who does this on many of his machines in his collection. So I thought it would be quite an interesting thing to show you what is available on this machine. And I'll probably get on to doing some more videos of this machine, maybe some requests. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, so to start, so as everyone knows, with a Miele, you can't open the door without power unless you go into the filter down there. The machine just did a cotton 60-degree wash, so that's why there's condensation in there. You have to open the filter hatch, and then there's a little lever you can pull that will open the door. So to open the door, obviously you have to switch on the machine. It's very much like the early service quartz machines. You could not actually open the door without power. Okay, so obviously on I think every Miele has this. This is like your stop change program section. Finish. I'm going to try and, instead of showing everything, I'll just get close up. Right. So the first cycle you have is Cotton's 95. This is the cycle that I use for maintenance washes. I also use it for towels, bedding, and any other things that I might like to play around with the machine. If I just want to do a wash, you know, for YouTube, I'll tend to use this cycle. So in this cycle, this is like the maximum options available on all the Cotton cycle. So you can have spin speed from 1300 to 900, 600, 400, rinse hold, and without spin. If you select 600 or below, it actually adds an extra rinse. The options you can have are Water Plus, which now with Miele machines, they come with a default setting. And you can go into the config menu, which Miele do allow you to. On this machine, this is the only sort of thing I have. I don't have a very fancy screen with the start pause button like the much later Mieles did have. On this machine, it comes with the default setting of adding an extra rinse. You can either have it to add an extra rinse to top up the level on the main wash. I think you can top up the rinse water as well, although it doesn't actually do that. I think it just tops up the main wash water. Or you can have it to do top up the water on the main wash and add an extra rinse. That's what I've got it set to do. So that's why on the main wash, if you've seen it, it fills up again before it does the changes the time. The time for this one is 2 hours and 18 with Water Plus. It's 2 hours and 9, and then 1 hour and 31 for a small load when it changes it. The soak option, once again, this is set to do a default. This is set to do half an hour. With this machine, it comes with a default setting of up to 2 hours. You can have 2 hours, 1 hour, or half an hour. I think that's the most I've got it set to do. That basically adds a soak setting before, but it doesn't drain the water. It just continues into the main wash. Pre-wash, it adds an extra 7 minutes on. That is self-explanatory. It does a pre-treatment at about 30 degrees. It's meant to do 40, I think, but it only reaches 30. Then that only on the Cotton's 95 and I think the Cotton 60 cycle, or I think it was only the 95. It only does a spin after the pre-wash. Other cycles it just drains and goes into the main wash. Short, that takes off. I think that takes off 15 minutes of the wash, but it will sometimes reduce it again by say 20 minutes if it needs to. So that's all what you can have. You can have Water Plus, but you cannot select two of these options together. So you can either have that. Unlike the older W700 and some of the W800s, I think. No, the W700s were the push buttons. You could select as many as you wanted at a time, providing it was available with the program. And also with this, as I said, rinse hold holds the machine just stays stationary in the final rinse water without spin. It just goes onto a drain. It tumbles a few times, switches off. Okay, that's Cotton's 95. Cotton 60, same as all the Cotton cycles are the same. unless of course you want to change, but they only have a difference of time. Now this is what I find quite amusing. The Cotton 60 cycle, the default time is 1 hour and 49, and it cuts it down to about 1 hour and 10. The Cotton's 40 cycle, however, is longer, 1 hour and 55, and that cuts it down to 1 hour and 21 it will go to. Because it will do 4 minutes of tumbling before and doing the load sensing before it actually cuts down the time. Cotton's 30 is also 1 hour and 55. I'm guessing because it's lower temperature, it spends more time washing. Obviously, the only reason the Cotton's 95 cycle is that long is because it takes so long to heat up. Now we move on to this section here, the minimum iron. This has got the newer layout of Miele machines before they went to the scroll menu, which like the Navitronic and the more of the higher end W3000 WPS range has. This machine is not a WPS, it is a WCS, which has a water control system. The WPS is the waterproof system. I think it means it just stops flooding and leaks. It can and have a different hose. The minimum iron 60, you can have water plus, soak, pre, you can have all these again. And now the spin speed for this is 1300 on here, but it actually only does a burst at about 5 seconds at 1300. Then it goes back down to 1200, which is not on here. But you can have a selection of all these. Hour and 26 for that. Hour and 19 for the minimum iron 40. Yes, again, you can use all these options. The minimum iron and Cottons are very similar, just they have different wash and spin patterns. Okay, minimum iron 30 is same, 1 hour and 19, and once again, you can use all these options. Spin speed for those are 1300 pulse with about 2 minutes at 1200. Moving on to the Easy Care Delicates. This is the more gentler action cycles for your silks and any other sort of delicate items you have, underwear maybe. And this significantly reduces the spin speed. It significantly increases the water level on all cycles. It does not do a low level wash, pre-wash or rinse on any of them. So for this one you cannot select water plus because the machine already fills to its maximum fill line. Well, that's up to here, but I'm sure that the actual emergency cut-off is halfway up the door. And I will do that test one day actually, and I'll see if I can get it to how far we can get it to fill. But you can do a soak, you can do a pre-wash, and you can do short. So it's 59. It's 59 for all of them, including the cold. And you only have a 600 RPM spin, 400 rinse hold. So this does a default setting of 3 rinses. It is the only cycle. I think the shirt cycle does it as well. To do 3 rinses by default, because all Miele machines come equipped with 2 rinses. Although I've been told later machines do, I think they only do 1 rinse on some of them. So cold, minimum, so all the delicate cycles, they all have the same options. Now you have your separate rinse and starch on older Miele's before this as well, which were like the previous range, the Premier 500, Premier 520, etc. The ones before this, including the Prestige Plus model. Because the reason this is Prestige Plus 6 is because it's a 6 kilogram, but the W524, which is the Prestige Plus only model, that was the 5 kilogram or 5.5 kilogram. I don't know what they had before. So this one is like a separate rinse cycle. It does just 1 rinse, fills through the conditioner, and it is 15 minutes, and it does a 4-minute spin cycle, final spin at 1200. It does not go to 1300 because I think it only does it for 2 minutes. Separate, the older ones I said, like the Premier 500 and whatnot, they had a separate rinse, and then they had an actual program called Starch. What this does is you just put, so you can either just put it in as conditioner or just a normal rinse, or you can put starching liquids in for your shirts. Drain and spin, self-explanatory. It's either a drain cycle if you want to do without spin, because you can't, as you can see, that the rinse hold function is not available because obviously there's no need to have a rinse hold. So 1 minute it will just drain and tumble. This is basically a fast or slow spin. You can do fast 1300, sort of medium 900, and slow 600 and 400. And obviously, of course, none of these are available. Even with this one, you can't use. Moving on to the woolen section, cold, you cannot use water plus, but you can. So The woolen section, well, don't use this section much. You cannot use any of the options. And the final spin for all of these all the woolen cycles is 1200, not 1300. The woolen cycle is significantly reduced. They're all 40 minutes. The cold actually heats it to 20 degrees, as was figured by, I can't remember who figured it out. Someone did I think it was Mark Leslie, I think. He figured out that the Miele heats to about 20. Woolens 30 degrees woolens, 40 woolens. That was used to be R1. The reason we stopped is because it had very poor rinse and washing performance. It wouldn't actually heat to 40. I think it would get to about 20. And it only did one burst on the intermediate spin, so it meant it would wash suds back into the rinse, and it would only do half a drum action, half a turn. Silk's 30, 400 RPM. This is the slowest spin cycle on any program that it does. You can use Water Plus, but you cannot use any of these. 36 minutes for that. Express 40 is the same as the Woolen Cycle. You cannot use any of these options. It's 32 minutes. It's the shortest cycle this machine does. The later machines can do 20, like the W1. Yeah, no, sorry. The more recent, like W1 line, can do Express Wash 20. But I think that's only if you select short. But this does a 1300 spin. It only does one burst, but it does it very similar to a cotton cycle. It will go up to 900, then it will just go up. It will climb to 1200, 1300. This does 2 rinses with very slow intermediate spins. The main wash on this is only 13 minutes long, and it does actually get to 40 degrees. We don't really use this much, so this one. The later machines, the W Classics, I think they only do 1 rinse, I've been told, so that's quite poor performance, I think. But the rinses on most Miele machines, though, are about 10 to 12 minutes on the cotton cycles, with the added second rinse being, if you select Water Plus, that's about 7 minutes long. Denim 40 for your jeans and denim jackets. You cannot do Water Plus, but you can do a soak, pre-wash, and you can do a short. Default time is 1 hour. Soak makes it 1 hour and 36, because obviously I don't know why it makes it 1 hour and 36. Yeah, 13 minutes for a pre-wash. Short takes off 6 minutes, but you cannot do Water Plus. This cycle does not do intermediate spins, and it does a 900 RPM final spin with anything below available. Shirts 40. I have no idea what this program does because I've never used it. I have had a request by Hotpoint Lover to do it, but we are waiting to be able to find some shirts that I can wash. But this cycle, I believe, is a 600 spin. You can not do Water Plus, but you can do soak and pre-wash only. Whereas I think Easy Care allowed us to do a short, didn't it? Yeah. So I think the shirt cycle is going to be very much identical to the Easy Care cycle, high water level, because it doesn't do Water Plus, high water level, and I think it will also allow, I think it won't do intermediate spins. Dark garment cycle is essentially like a shortened cotton's 40 degrees. You cannot do Water Plus, however. You can do soak, pre-wash, and short on that. Maximum speed of 1300. I think we figured it only did 1200. I can't remember. Not really used that cycle much. I've only used it twice in the time that I've had this machine. But you can do anything below that. The last one is the automatic cycle. This is for mixed fabrics. Say if you wanted to wash woolens and cottons together, or different. If you had a load of laundry that it's not small enough to do, it's not large enough to do separate loads. You just want to bung it all in the machine in one load. You put it on the automatic cycle. This is very similar to the denim cycle. It does do intermediate spins, but the final spin is at 900 in the same bursts as the 600, 700, and 900 bursts. You can select anything below that on your spin speed. You can do Water Plus, and you can do soak, pre-wash, and short. And you, as I said before, you can have Water Plus, yes, but you cannot choose all of these. You can only do one of these at a time. And then, of course, to finish. If you turn the machine to finish, you can also, during the wash, you have to turn it there for about half a second and then back. You can skip through the cycle. You can go through soak, and you can skip straight to the main wash. For main wash, you can skip to the rinses, or on some programs you can skip to the intermediate spin. But the Easy Care Delicate cycle does not light up on rinses when it drains, only when it fills. So if you skipped it from the main wash to the rinses, you'd be rinsing with your main wash water. Not very good, of course, to do that. But I use it on the cotton cycle when the machine's heated to 60 and it's got like another half hour left. I think, well, it's done what it needs to do, I'll just skip it. I don't do it all the time, I only do it for small loads, because otherwise big loads do need to wash. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, of course, if you start a Miele machine and you hold, I shouldn't really do this, really, but if I hold the start button and I've turned this on, I can get the machine to go into service mode, I think. There you are. Not service mode, that's the config menu. Okay, it's out of the config menu now, but that's what happens if you want to change any options. Only do so by the manual. This does have a service cycle. I have actually put it through the cycle, but it's not very entertaining. I think only the cotton cycle is what works. It's not like any of the other Mieles where you can go and change the spin speeds and whatnot. But even with that, I wouldn't even attempt it with this machine. Wouldn't attempt it with any Miele, because obviously I always get a bit worried about Miele machines that, you know, could easily do something to them. Anyway, that's the all options and cycles available on this Miele machine. This machine is not like any of the others. Even though it has the PC update here, you cannot add other programs, unlike what they can do with like the Edition 111 and whatnot. I'm trying to think what the direct competitor to this machine is. I can't really think of any, because I think once they brought out the later W3000s, I don't think they made a 1300 RPM model. I think 1400 then became their lowest speed. But the machine that is next in line, that is next one up, had the honeycomb drum, and that was the Honeycomb Care. I think it was the W3204 or the W3240. Then they had an angled fascia model, the W3241 WPS. But this machine, I think, was manufactured January 2008 according to Miele, but it was actually designed March 2000, going by the Miele number. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. That was the programs and options, all cycles and options available on this Miele W562 WCS, if you could say that, Prestige Plus 6 washing machine with a 1300 RPM spin and 6 kilogram load. I will be doing another review of this machine because I did one last year, but my review wasn't that good. I now want to say how much I do appreciate having this machine. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that firekid1235. Guys, as I said, look, I don't mind taking a lot of requests, but if it's things like washing regular loads, I kind of have done that already. I don't really want to repeat myself on this machine. But if anyone's got any, I shall say, interesting requests, like if it's anything to test the design limit of this machine, please go ahead and tell me what you want me to do, because this machine's a Miele, I can push it quite far. I mean, obviously there probably will be things that I won't be able to do because it's not my machine, but if it was my machine, then I'd probably be able to do a bit more, but even still, I probably wouldn't want to break a Miele. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Don't forget, keep it supreme, go with the flow.